York, gravelly graveyard, unique New York.
Boil and toil and trouble and toil and boil and toil and trouble and boil.
I must change my oil.
Is that a gargoyle?
Don't smoke things off foil,
Don't come to me in times of turmoil.
for I am not loyal. Welcome back, donkeys, to the slaughter.
Line up.
You may not recognize us.
For we are in our true form.
We have shed our mortal coil. It's gonna be spooky.
It's going to be scary.
It might be a little hairy.
I hope you don't like to sleep, because those days are done.
And I do hope you've pooped today so you don't poop your pants.
You might yourself on. We look normal. You won't come back from this.
And if you're on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe.
Are you sure you want to post that? It's gonna be online forever.
Okay, today we come to you live. This is a live recording. How does it happen? Witchcraft.
Oh, are we live?
We're live.
Unlike our souls.
Competitors.
We decided to take a turn into Spooky Town.
We've decided to cross.
We have crossed.
We've crossed over.
And we invite you across the line alongside us. The line to insanity!
Legend says, once you cross, you will not be returning home.
We got some spooky ass stories, is what all that is to say. A few of them came from you guys out there, and they're scary.
Yeah.
And we're gonna share some scary stories with you of our own on this here episode of
Online Forever. We are going to start a little light because we are taking you to the depths
of darkness.
of darkness. One story comes from Catherine Ware.
Oh, she's naughty girl.
Naughty girl. She has said, for your Halloween episode, there are enough scary elements in this story it's worth sharing. We'll be the judge of that. She says, this happened way before we had a term for something like the ick. Ooh.
Nasty.
Ooh. I think this was in 2012. Ooh, spooky time.
The last year there ever was.
Right. Some say that's when it all ended.
Some say that's when I graduated high school.
High school? I was 19, staying at my friend's apartment, sleeping on a mattress on the dining room floor. Spooky. I was dating a mechanic at the time, and he came over. We were having on said dining room floor, doggy style, LMAO. And I look back and saw that he was squatting and looked exactly like a frog. So I broke up with him right then and there. Is that spooky?
A man looking like a frog. I'm shaking in my boots.
I will never come back from that story. I have seen a man like that, and I kept chugging along, personally.
That reminds me of, who is it? I can't remember, but people talking about, like, when a man is going down on you, but he's, like, on all fours instead of just, like, laying down on the bed. They're like, you can't go
You don't like
back
to see the
from
back arch?
that. I love it, personally.
Yeah, I'm into it.
I like my man submissive, face down, ass up.
Yeah, same. And then the other story is just coming from my best friend, Mel. Shout out. She said, I got married at 19. And that's her.
Ah!
And I would agree that that's terrifying because it was to a man with a Linkin Park tattoo.
Oh.
Ruh-roh spaghetti-o.
That's a man that might chop you up.
Yeah, he was in his 30s.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
Well, I wish a hex upon him.
He is so haunted. But yeah, throw another one on there. Okay, shall we embark in our first real scary?
Let's get into the meat like a maggot.
Here we go.
Okay.
This one comes from Kayla Marie. I had one job at a very old hotel that was on my college campus. It was a part of the campus in the 1800s, renovated, and is still in operation today.
Random.
It was basically a mansion with only 5 suites in it. Due to its age, it was severely haunted. Someone back in the late 1800s had hung themselves in suite number 5. And creepy shit would just happen all the time. I was working a graveyard shift on night 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And only one guest was staying there on the 3rd floor, where suite 5 was. I get a phone call to the front desk at exactly 3 a.m. from said guest. I answer and she says, "Can you please tell the children to staying here to stop running around so late at night?" I pause for a long time and tell her, "You are the only guest staying here tonight. There are no kids staying here." It might not be super creepy via message, but I resigned that night because I was so shaken up about it, and I still drive past it sometimes and get chills all over my body when I look at it.
My heart is beating a little fast.
Ooh. That is scary.
That is scary. Those ghost children. They always think it's recess, you know?
Literally. Put down the shovel and pail. It's time to cross over, you buffoon.
Hey.
Would you like to go next?
I would. This one actually scared, disturbed, and disgusted me. And I didn't see it coming. All right. This particularly spooky and egregious story comes from Misty in the DMs. When I was about 8, we lived in a trailer in the woods that had a river as our back property line.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. My older sister and I were walking along the riverbank after a recent rain event had made the river rise, then recede back to normal again. There was usually shit that washed up, and we would play with it or just explore. Was walking along and stepping over branches and stuff when my sister said, "Oh my God, you stepped on it." I turned around to see what I had stepped on, and it was a severed pair of woman's legs, decayed to the point of just some meat on the bone, only the hip joints down. The way we knew it was a woman was because she was still wearing a pair of lace panties. You would think, as kids, we would be shocked and traumatized by this, but actually we thought it was cool, and probably one of the most interesting things to happen to our backcountry asses. Turns out she was a missing woman from Houston who had been murdered.
These kids were playing in debris, and then they just stumble across a pair of legs.
Whoa!
Whew. I think I asked her for more information. 4 new messages from Misty. I said, "I'm dying to know more." She said, "Okay, so there's actually a part 2 of this."
Okay, let's go.
We have not heard this yet. Apparently, the woman's boyfriend was already the suspect in her disappearance, but with no body, they had nothing on him but circumstantial evidence. Since we found her body and it was ruled a homicide, they went to arrest the boyfriend. He lived in an RV trailer in the park.
Oh, in their park?
Yeah.
Ugh.
They surrounded his camper, and he shot himself. So I guess justice served itself. Pretty heavy stuff for a child. LOL. My mom went on to write poems about angels leading us to her body or some weird shit.
Wow.
Oh, that gave me a little shivery and timbery.
Oh, my Lord.
We have 3 theories on why we only found her legs. 1, natural decomposition in the movement of the water. 2, he separated her body before dumping it, making it easier to transport. 3, alligators ate the other half. We did live in a swampy area with gators.
Oh, man. Gators don't like the legs?
No. Gators were going just for the brains.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one more. This one made me think of more of a supernatural vibe. First, it should be noted that when I was 3 years old, I was in a coma and on life support. I miraculously pulled through, but when I woke up, I was terrified and told my mom that there was a girl trying to steal my body. I would see this girl often throughout my childhood until a shaman helped me rid her. Because of my coma, I was really susceptible to spirits attaching to me. One in particular we called the man with the hat. Later in life, I would learn he is actually a known demon.
That's Hatman.
Right, called Hatman.
Right.
There's a whole movie about him, she says. I haven't seen it. Have you?
No.
Okay. He would walk up and down our hallway and stop at my bedroom door at night. Sometimes we, my family members, would see his reflection in the glass photos of the walls.
Oh.
One night, I was home alone and feeling scared, so I asked my friend's mom to pick me up. When I got in the car, she said, "Why did you say you were home alone?" I responded that I was, and she said, "There was a man wearing a hat staring at me from your bedroom window." She sped out of our neighborhood so fast.
Oh my gosh, Hatman strikes again.
Dude, what is it? I mean, and I kind of had a,
Did you have a Hatman experience?
the other night.
I don't think that was Hatman.
It was a different hat.
That was World War II Helmet Man, which we will get to in a
will get to.
moment.
We will get
The
to that.
scariest story of them all. Some people think, I believe, that Hatman could potentially be many Hatmen
Yeah.
on doing their bidding here on Earth. Who knows what their mission
They're
may
in
be?
a gang.
gang, it's Hatman. Hatman's never paid me a visit, but I feel that we are opening a portal here tonight.
I just felt
so.
him come in.
Oh, Hattie.
Hatman.
Do you think he's balding?
And that's why he's wearing a hat. In that case, we are surrounded by Hatmen.
Tell Hatman about the hair plugs and turkey.
Stop haunting people. Just get the operation.
Okay, all right. We've gone light. Then we went legs, and then we went hats.
Right.
Right? Now it's time for
Ankles.
head, shoulders, knees, and
Bones.
Is it time for our stories?
Yes, I believe that you should go first.
Okay. Well, I have two stories I thought I might share on
Please.
occasion. One is my own, and one is not.
Oh.
Okay, my scary story is we'll see. Okay, we might cut it, but I'm gonna tell it. All
Tell
right.
it.
I've told a little bit of this on the Stevie Weeby podcast, but now we're bringing it to our hometown, to the hometown of Online Forever Pod. All right, the last house that I lived at when I lived in Arkansas, I lived in a, not to flex, but it was $400 a month for a studio. So
Rich.
So that hurts. That hurts. But when I moved in, there were two little kitty cats that would sometimes come inside, and I loved them. Did they give me ringworm? Yes. And that is haunted indeed. But they seemed sweet, you know? Come to find out, after a couple months of living there, I was talking to my neighbor, whose name I won't mention for reasons that will become abundantly clear momentarily. And he was like, "You see those cats running around your apartment all the time?" And I was like, "Yeah, I let them in sometimes. I feed them." And he was like, "Oh." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Well, there was a woman who lived in this apartment before you, and we didn't know that she passed away in the apartment. And her dead body was in there, in this studio apartment I lived in, for 3 weeks with her cats."
Damn.
And then they started smelling the body. They realized they hadn't seen her in a while. They open the doors. The two cats sprint away into the woods for months. They're nowhere to be seen. The people, my neighbors and the police, I suppose, go into the apartment, and the cats had eaten a lot of her body and her face. Right. The same cats that gave me ringworm. Anyway, I forgot to mention when I moved into this apartment, the very first night, I woke up around, I don't know what time, but in the middle of the night. There were swarms of cockroaches everywhere in this apartment. It was absolutely horrifying. And I called my landlord, and they did try to address the problem, but the cockroaches really never fully went away. Like, to the point that I remember, like, I woke up one night and I looked down at the foot of my bed, and there was just one, like, running across the foot of my bed. I was like, "Oh no." And the other creepy thing that happened at that apartment right before I left, this started happening, happened 2 different times. Someone would, okay, So this is a studio, right? There's a front door and there's a back door. The back door leads to this porch where there's like an old ass piano. I would wake up to a knock at the front door in the middle of the night, which is already creepy. And then moments later, a knock at the back door. And then I would hear like 3 different notes being played on this piano outside. And that happened the exact same sequence of events 2 different times. And I came to find out the dead lady used to play the piano. And here's where we'll wrap on this one. The neighbor that I mentioned who told me about all this, the day that I moved out, sent me a picture of my own tits and said, if you ever want to come back and hang out, me and my girlfriend would love that. And I was like, where did you find this picture? I hate this.
Where did he find that picture?
My theory is, I think when I had Snapchat at the time, I think when someone gets your number, maybe your snap comes up on Snapchat.
But did you post that on your story?
I did.
Oh. Well, that just reminds me that the scariest thing of all is a polyamorous couple.
And
How
that
did
girl
the woman die?
That girl, his girlfriend was convinced that we were sisters, which is equally disturbing. How did she die? I think she well, this is irrelevant.
Piano on the head?
No, she was, I think, very obese. And I think maybe had a heart attack is what it sounded
Them cats were eating good. That's so. You have never told me that story before.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Like, definitely the most haunted situation I personally have been in, I would say.
Bro, and you kind of ate the woman's body too, through the cats. Not that you ate the cats, but I don't know. When you said that, like, you got ringworm from the cat, like there was a disease spread from dead body to you.
Oh God,
that's the first
she
thing
lives
I
on
thought.
through me.
Woo! Damn, that's haunting.
It was pretty crazy.
What you don't pay for in rent, sometimes you pay for in
horrors. Okay, should I tell the next one?
Yes.
Okay. So this one I think you've heard before, but had a little bit of difficulty following along. So this will be the second time.
oh, Kratos' story?
Yes.
Is it Kratos?
It's actually Lekos.
Okay. I'm gonna get it this time.
Okay. This story comes from my friend Lekos, who is such an angel, and I miss you so much. And if you're listening to the podcast, please reach out because I miss you. But yeah, I used to work in Utah at a wilderness therapy camp, and we would tell scary stories at night. And Lekos is a former Mormon, and let me tell you, haunted things happen to Mormon people.
Wow.
Unsurprising. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So, Lekos was wanting one Halloween, actually, to do something spooky with his cousin. So they called his spooky uncle, who was an elder in the Mormon church. And they were like, hey, do you know anything spooky to do? Because his cousin was dating this girl, and she had a girlfriend, and they all 4 wanted to go, like, just get scared together. And his uncle was like, you guys should go to the burial ground on the Paiute reservation, which is where the native Indians there will bury their dead, but they bury them above ground, and they'll like wrap them in buffalo skin. And yeah, it's like a really beautiful ceremony, and it's like part of like becoming, like, going back to nature. Like, sometimes the bodies will decompose, will be like taken by animals, and they like decorate it really beautifully. But there's literally like a field of these graves, like above ground, with like bodies on them. So, ethically questionable, but his uncle was like, you guys could go look at that at like sunset or something. But just know that on the reservation, the laws of the United States government don't apply. It's like Indian law there. So they can basically, like, if they want to murder you, like, no one gives a shit, So he and his cousin and these 2 girls go really late one night as the sun is going down, and they're looking at the bodies, and they're like, oh, this is so cool. And it starts getting darker and darker, and they see, so basically they're on this like kind of like elevated like almost like cliff that like goes around the burial site, and on the other side they see this light come on, like a lantern, and start moving pretty like quickly towards them. And they're like, oh shit, that's like an Indian, and we really shouldn't be here. So they run down the hill, and they start like running into the desert kind of towards their car, and this man is chasing them, and they're running deeper and deeper into the desert, and they kind of start getting a little bit lost. And this guy is still behind them, and they like run down this wash, which is like a place where like the river has, or like a former river has kind of washed out, almost like a little valley. And they jump behind some bushes, and they're hoping that this guy won't see them. But like literally their footprints are in the sand. And this man finally catches up with them, and they say that they see him with his lantern, like looking around for them. And it's like not hard to tell where they are. But like I said, it almost seemed like he realized like what direction they were headed in. And he was just like, I'm just going to let them go that way. And then turns around and goes back to the reservation, presumably. So they wait a little bit until they feel like the coast is clear, and they start walking towards the edge of the desert again where their car is. So as they're walking, they're kind of lost, and there's a bunch of like broken down old mines and houses and all kinds of stuff out in the desert. They see these two houses and like start walking towards them because they're like, "Ooh, this is spooky, scary. Like, what's up with these abandoned houses?" They're kind of like old, like Victorian style looking spooky homes. And his cousin is like, "We should go in one of these." And the girls are like, "Hell no. Like, it's literally dark. We're in the middle of the desert. Like, what just happened was so scary. We've already seen a bunch of dead bodies today. Like, we should just get to the car and like go home." And his cousin's like, "No, we should fucking go in." So Lekos is like, "Yeah, you know, I'm a man. Let's go." And they go inside of this old dark house. So when they get inside, they're basically in like this like living room looking situation. And Lekos says there is a literal pentagram on the ground that has been drawn in something red, and there's like burnt out candles like on all 5 of the points. I'm getting scared. And
Right, something red.
right. Girl, just you wait. So they're in the living room. There's like a kind of dining room off to the right that's like pitch black basically. And his cousin turns and goes into the dining room, and Lekos walks through like the pentagram room to the kitchen. And he gets to the kitchen by himself. There is a dead, beheaded goat in the sink with blood everywhere. And he's like, what the hell? I need to get out of this house. So he turns back around, right? And he can see through the kitchen door into the living room, which then leads to the front door. So he can see through both doors. He's looking outside basically from the kitchen, and the 2 girls are standing there like completely frozen, like so scared looking, and his cousin is standing next to them, and they're all just like staring at Lekos inside the house. So Lekos turns and starts to like run through the living room to like get back to his friends. And he says that, he has the light on his phone. And he said that when he shined it into the living room, it like the light like wouldn't go into it. And he starts like running. And he said like once his body got into the living room and he was trying to run, it was like that speaker noise. It's like, wah, 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 wah. Like he felt it in his body. And it was like, he was like running through like water. Like he couldn't like run full speed. And he was like, no, get me the fuck out of this house. So he finally makes it to the front door. He gets up to the 2 girls. They're literally crying, like tears streaming down their face. His cousin is the boy. And his cousin is like not speaking and just like being very strange. And Lekos is like, we need to go to my uncle's house right now and get like, which in Mormon culture called a blessing. So they all make their way back to the car finally. Lekos calls his uncle and he's like, we need a blessing right now. And his uncle's like, yeah, of course, come over. And they get to his uncle's house. The 2 girls immediately go upstairs. His cousin's being hella weird. Lekos goes up to his uncle and tells him what happened. And his uncle's like, okay, I'm going to talk to your cousin. You go upstairs and hang out with the girls and like comfort them. So Lekos goes upstairs and he's like, what like happened? Like, did my cousin say anything to you guys? And they said that from their point of view, the 2 boys walked into the house, and then the cousin basically like came out almost immediately, walked up to them and said in a voice that did not sound like his, now you watch. And they were like frozen still all of a sudden and just like watching Lekos trying to like get out of this house basically, which is so scary. So they all 3, I think, make their way to the front porch of the house. And while they're waiting out there, while his uncle is talking to the cousin, they hear this like insane, like blood-curdling scream from inside the house. And eventually the uncle and the cousin come out, and his cousin is like seemingly back to normal and says that the second that he walked into that dining room, that he felt this like dark female presence like completely like consume his body and like possess him basically. Isn't that scary?
Yes, it is scary, but I have some follow-up questions.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so it's 3 humans total.
Lekos his cousin,
Uh-huh.
boys, and then his cousin's girlfriend and her friend, who's a girl.
Okay, 4 people total.
Yeah.
So there were other beings in the house.
The 2 girls never came in.
2 girls.
Both of the boys went into the house.
Oh, okay. So, okay. And the 2 girls were made to watch.
Yeah.
Oh. And they couldn't move.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I believe him.
I mean,
fully.
That is way too elaborate. Also, there's like 3 other people to corroborate.
Yeah, and it's Utah. You know what I mean?
God damn.
Yeah, that is to date one of the scariest stories I think
That's scary. I did get a visual this time.
Okay, good.
I feel like
good.
I was there, unfortunately.
Okay, let's take a deep rattling breath.
Rattling.
Because some things have occurred this week that inspired us to do this episode.
I was gonna give just a couple of little weird.
Oh yeah.
Factoids.
I forgot you have saved something for me.
I have. Okay, well, first of all, did you know that toes can amputate themselves?
What?
Literally.
I hope mine don't do that.
And they won't come back. It's not like starfish. Like, they amputate them. Okay, I read into it further, and it is just in diabetic patients, but still.
Okay.
They toe, like, in just the pinky toe. Pop off like a grape.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I would like you to say the thing about the chainsaws, because I haven't stopped thinking about that.
I was thinking about bringing that up as well. Okay, some little fun facts to rinse out the brain. Just kidding. This will haunt you forever. Okay, do y'all know what the chainsaw was invented for in the late 1700s? That's right, cutting through the pelvic bone of women during childbirth. Fact check me all you want, haters. That is why the chainsaw was invented, because they didn't want to use a hacksaw anymore. They needed it to be more convenient to cut open a woman to get a baby out, which is just so cruel.
And they did that up until when?
The 1980s in Ireland, the last known time they used that. And y'all know there was not anesthesia for that.
No.
Right. There are reports I've read of women saying that they were giving birth and then the chainsaw was brought out and they watched their blood surge up onto the ceiling. Like, pfft. Also, they're using it to cut through bone. Like, I just cannot process that. I feel it in my body right now. Like, a moment of not too long, but a moment of silence for all of the women who have died during childbirth and specifically during that procedure.
That is fucking haunting.
It's so haunting. We are literally just shells out of which babies come to men, you know?
Truly.
You know?
It's like, childbirth, kind of the most, like, sacred thing of all time. Let's make this easier on ourselves as the men.
Right.
And invent one of the most horrific pieces of machinery of all time to saw through her body, hope to not saw through the baby in the process.
Ugh.
Like,
it makes
what?
me think of, like, because I feel like that's such a thing in scary movies is like chainsaws like sawing through people, and I'm just like, that
Totally.
is a real shout out right there.
That's a shout out. And a quick little palate cleanser. The vibrator was invented because the male doctors who were dealing with women
with
hysteria,
they were getting hand cramps.
They were getting hand cramps because how they were dealing with those women were, well, they just gotta come. They just gotta be pleasured, which, like, granted.
Thank God for that.
But the doctors, their hands got tired. So then they invented the vibrator.
And can I say something else? I came with my hand for the first time in 5 years yesterday.
Jill.
Oh,
wow,
and
dude.
that's on not being off my meds.
Wow.
It was pretty tight.
Little wicka.
A little wicked. Little DJ sesh.
Did you use any visual stimulants?
No, actually.
Love that. How long did it take you?
It took me a good 15. Not too bad.
Oh, that's great.
Not too bad.
That's not bad at all.
Not too bad.
Any tension?
You gotta have
A little butt squeeze.
You gotta have the squeeze.
Ah. Okay. So I know you're usually the one to give me the history lessons.
But today.
But have you heard of Project 731? It's actually Unit 731.
Okay. Oh, that I have heard. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, really? Oh.
No.
Okay.
Suck my unit.
Unit 731 was a sector of Japanese torture camp.
Okay.
All right. Let's just say hundreds of thousands of people passed through these types of torture experiment camps during World War II.
And these were in Japan?
Yeah, Japan, but I think they also happen in China, like when,
Okay.
you know, I don't know if that makes sense factually.
Are you saying that China and Japan are the same thing?
Yes. Racism is spooky. So they said, we're going to be the biggest and the baddest that have ever done it. They said, we're not just going to torture people for fun. We're going to do it under the guise of medical learning. Right. Their words, not mine.
I mean, war is always a great learning time for everyone involved.
So true.
Unfortunately.
Right. So they had all these prisoners, and they said, let's cut them up. Let's do some surgery. Keep them awake. And let's just do crazy experiments. Basically, when the body is like cut open while the person is alive, no anesthesia, so they can watch the bodily functions while the person is alive. So they were doing that. And then they were amputating people for fun. They would cut off lefty, put it on righty.
Oh my God.
They would cut out the spleen, attach it to the kidneys.
This is like Mengele stuff.
Seriously, like just to be the most atrocious, like as possible. And like cutting up people's brains for fun and just like stuff that I haven't even seen in like the worst like body horror movie. I'm surprised there hasn't been like a factual scary movie about it.
It's probably too dark.
I know, isn't that fucking...
I just really think about it's like anything you could imagine has not only been done, but like so much worse things.
Way worse.
Have been done.
Sometimes I think about this is a very haunting thought. All the people that have been born with no records of them.
Mm-hmm.
And what has happened to those people?
Bro, that homeless newborn baby we saw the other day. Do you remember that?
Was I
You
there?
probably blocked it out. Yeah.
Oh, God.
When we were driving under a bridge and there was a woman holding like literally the freshest child. I was just like, yeah, that made me go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I did push that one aside. You're right. Not
Sorry
anymore.
about that. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
That baby's going to be the president one day.
Yeah.
God willing.
Yeah. It's the only thing that would make sense. We need a president who was born on La Brea. Okay.
Under a bridge. Okay.
Under a bridge. Okay. So, speaking of World War II, I've had a lot of haunting experiences.
But we saved the best for last.
This happened 3 nights ago, y'all. So.
Was it only 3 nights ago?
Yeah. Okay, so for those who don't know, which is all of you, I've been doing Sober October. And so...
So proud of you.
Oh my God, thank you.
And she's killing it.
And so there is no there's no possible reason for me to have experienced this other than it unfortunately happened. So I get home from a big long like day of outing and socializing. I am exhausted, so happy to get home. And I'm like, I'm gonna leave some details out just because it is about like where I live. So if things feel foggy, deal with it. So I take my dog out for a walk and I make a phone call.
It's like midnight.
Yeah, it's like midnight, and I usually walk at night in my neighborhood, and like things are a little spooky because where I live is haunted, but it's like pretty chill, you know?
Manageable.
It's manageable. Nothing I can't deal with. Okay, so I get out. I'm on the street at this point, and I'm walking a little bit, and then I see from the shadows a tall, slender figure, all dressed in black with a black face mask and a black World War II shaped hat on, walking at a snail's pace.
Step. Step. Step.
towards me. So I cross the street and I realize that this person is staring at me and following me, but very slowly. And I'm extremely close to my house. So I'm like, all right, I can't go home because then this freak is going to know where I live. So I walk I'm like, okay, you're overreacting. Like, you're just scared, whatever. This is a trauma response because of just the encyclopedias of prior experience. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep walking and like forget about it for now. This figure is, again, they, human, not sure, never change their pace. So slow the whole time, which is something that's just like so eerie about it, like unnaturally slow.
Because it's like if at the end of it all it was a prank, it's like they would have slipped, you know. It's like there was something truly haunted about just the fact that it's almost like they couldn't walk faster or something.
Yeah, and I kept my eyes on him the whole time because it was one of those things where I felt like if I were to look away and then like then it's right here. So this person is like following me still from a distance, but we're pretty close to each other. And so I'm like, okay, this is actually like really not good, really feeling bad in my spine. So I move to the nearest intersection because I'm like, it's well lit. There's cars passing through, not many because it's late. But so I go to this intersection and of course he follows me there. He starts crossing the crosswalk back and forth, but like pressing the button, waiting, staring at me the whole time, slowly crossing, and then gets to the other pole, presses it, waits, slowly crosses back, just back and forth. And I'm across the street, but at the same intersection, because I'm like, if I go further away, I'm more in the dark.
Yeah.
And like, if I need help, I'm going to get it from one of these cars. I'm on the phone with somebody, like telling them the whole story, which like in retrospect, I should have hung up and called the 911, I guess. But at that point, I like still didn't know if like this is somebody just like being a nerd or a freak or like just some like autistic, like, I don't know, harmless person. But no. So I get this feeling just because he's like just staring at me from across the street. So I flag down the car that comes because there aren't any cars coming. So I was like, okay, I need to like take advantage of this. I flag down this car. I go up to the window. I'm like, this guy's following me. He's really creepy. And it takes a second for this guy to notice. But he was like, oh my God. Like when he sees this guy. So I was like, okay, he sees him. So
thank God.
Right.
He's real, but
He's
also,
real, but also,
God damn it.
Damn it. And so he's like, what do you want to do? You want to get in the car? Just get in the car. And I was like, I don't know about that. And so the guy notices I'm talking to this guy. So Slender Man, the figure, walks slowly up to the car.
Through the intersection.
So he's now at the passenger window that I was just standing at. I go around to the other side of the car because what am I going to do? Hold hands with this guy? Like, I don't know. So I'm at the driver's side window. Slender Man is at the passenger side window. And I said, this car drives away. What's going to happen? You know? So the guy starts talking to Slender Man. And I go to the other side of the street because I'm like, this is not good. And I don't hear what they're saying because I'm like on the phone and like freaking out at this point. The car drives away and pulls over. I run to the car. I was like, what did you say? And he's like, I told him to leave you alone and that he was really freaking you out and scaring you and creeping you out to your core. And I was like, why did you say that? And I was like, but what did he say? And the guy was like, he smiled at me and then shrugged. And then slowly walked away. And I said, okay.
I'm in deep trouble.
I'm in trouble. I may never make it out of this tunnel. And so then I'm like, okay, what do I do now? If I walk away, I can't see where he's going. And I just like felt this really eerie feeling like he was going to go to my house. And I just didn't want that to happen. Like, I just did not want that to happen. So I keep my eyes on him. It looks like he's kind of walking away. So I'm like, okay, like I'm going to start walking to my house. And then all of a sudden he was back, like, and I didn't see him walk the whole way. So I was like, how did he get from there to there? You know?
Because you said you heard him like walk down a ways and like some car alarms going off.
Yeah, some car alarms going off. So I was like, oh, okay, he's a thief. Perfect. Like, thank God. But no, I feel like he was just like fucking around. So now he's walking slowly and I'm hiding at this point, like behind a bush. And I have a dog, so it's kind of hard to hide. But I'm like hiding under this bush, just like keeping my eyes on him. And he's walking slowly. And then he says, now's the time. He starts walking slowly to my house, stands in front of the gate for like a full minute, just staring at my house. And then I see his hand move to the doorknob. And then when his hand touched the doorknob and it started to turn, he turns around back at me, which I thought I was out of sight. So he
Why
knew.
is he all knowing, bro? Why is he all knowing?
Why?
How did he know where your house was?
I don't know.
Like, I cannot get over that.
It's so scary. So at that point, so he turns back around and looks at me with his hand twisting the doorknob, right? And then he opens the door, and I'm on the phone like, no, he's going to my house. He's going to, like, I'm freaking out. And then he's slowly walking onto the property. And that's when I said, this. The worst nightmare is already happening, so now I can book it away from here because he's already got, like, what am I going to do? Run over there and try to stop him? Like, no. So I hang up. I start calling 911. I run to the nearest house, like in the movies, knocking on the door like, please help me, you know?
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night. This man opens the door. He looks scared as hell because I just scared him and his whole family. I'm like, there's this man following me, and now he's at my house. He's like, just come inside. Absolute angel. Ugh. Absolute angel.
You know how to pick them, babe.
I really do. I would just like, there were a bunch of houses around. I could have gone to like 12 other ones. And I went to this one, and it was the correct one to go to. So now it's time to be on hold with 911 for 40 minutes. I didn't realize that that was a thing. Because I don't really go to cops as my saviors, even in times where I definitely should have, like when I got jumped and punched in Venice. Not for a thiefy, just for being scared of a guy not responding to what he's saying and continue to walk. So, but anyway, so I'm on hold with 911 for so fucking long. The cops eventually show up. Don't do a damn thing. They don't do anything. They lie and say that they cased the place for me. They didn't. They didn't even go inside yet. So they called me back to go there, being like, it's safe, it's cool, whatever. They had not even gone inside yet. So
they were like, how are we going to get inside? The gate is locked.
Right. So, okay, I have no idea how the gate became locked, but then I realized that I think my neighbor came home in between all of that. Like right after he must have left. Before this man leaves the property, he does something so hauntingly weird that I didn't find out until the next day. Unexplainable, truly. He leaves an offering of sorts.
Yeah, her neighbor texted her being like, do you think the weird man left this on the porch?
Said, yep. It was like, it's a river stone, which...
Stop. What? Stop, you're freaking me out.
I know, I'm so sorry.
No, I'm literally going to start crying. What?
I just realized what stone it is.
Is it from
It's... The name of the stone is like a name I used to go by. Anyway. He leaves the stone with a couple of dollars, $2, and uses like a form of medical tape around this wad and leaves it on the front porch.
And it sucks because there was a damn Ring camera right there.
There was. Get a subscription to the Ring camera if you have it. My neighbor had it installed, and I just figured that I would do anything. I would pay thousands of dollars to get the footage of him walking slow as fuck. Because, like, I wish I got a video of him or a picture of him or something. But all of these stories, like, you just don't. You think that you would do things a certain way, and, like, when it's happening, I don't know. It's just so surreal. It was, like, out of a fucking horror movie.
Literally. It really was. And we'll probably never have any answers.
No, because if we get any answers, it's probably because he came back. And we don't want that.
I still want to do a night patrol.
Yeah.
And go talk to the night creatures around.
Yeah, we're going to bring fucking Sleepy McGee over there.
Big boy, Wasian boy.
We're going to bring our large Wasian and go and ask the the night crawlers if they know any information about this dude. Because I don't think that he was homeless, because he had headphones on at one point and he was listening to like some man talking.
I want to know what he was listening to.
Me too, dude.
Probably Kill Tony. Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I don't know. What I've told myself now is like, actually, he didn't mean to scare me at all. Not true. But because he was like getting off on the fact that he was terrifying me.
For sure.
But what I'm telling myself, because what do? We survive and we thrive. I'm telling myself that he was like an ultimate protector, and that he gave me that offering to be like, no, I'm protecting you.
I wish I could follow the logic for your sake.
Oh, there's no logic. I never said it was logical. I said it's emergency thinking. But don't worry, you guys. I'm glocked up. I fixed my gun, and let's just say I keep that heater on me.
Let me get it out. Wait. Let me get it out.
Hold on, I got slippery hands.
Hold on just a second. I gotta get out my gun.
It's faced the wrong way.
I shot my toe. That's okay. It was gonna decapitate itself anyway.
Self-amputate. Auto amputation is what it's called.
Well, there's nothing to say after that.
Truly.
Other than you survived.
I feel like I have leveled up because I've lived a lot of my worst fears since coming to Los Angeles. And every time it happens, I do feel like I can do anything. I can handle any situation. But I am sick and tired of having to be so strong. So I'd love to things to chill the fuck out.
That aura is just so damn wide, shawty.
I know. I'm trying to kegel up my aura.
Light and tight. Gosh, that was a journey. Closing thoughts are, if you want to hear a little deeper into the paranormal.
Right. We have not even gone into that chapter.
But we shall. Because you guys want to know what our paranormal experiences have been. And we want to share, but it's just, I think for you in particular, quite a vast topic. And so it's hard to just squeeze it in.
Right.
But we did have a Patreon subscriber finally hit our line, use our number.
Yeah, you guys can text us.
Yeah, you can text us, you can call us, and she wanted to know about the paranormal experiences we've had. So we'll be doing a bonus episode for Patreon about all of the real spooky otherworldly things that have happened. And if you want to hear that, go subscribe.
And we did have some submissions that I feel like just more kind of are in that realm of supernatural rather than like spooky, scary hauntings. Although it's a fine line.
It really is.
But we're going to discover it together on Patreon.
Oh, we hope you guys enjoyed this little detour.
Hope you can't sleep. I'm just kidding.
Because you ain't never sleeping again.
Hey.
Nah, Shotty's getting 8 to 10 a night, okay?
Yeah. No, they're going to be fine.
I meant you.
Oh. I sleep very well, actually. I'm very grateful.
All right.
This was very fun.
I had a great time. Time to turn into bats and get on our broomsticks.
Time to fly upside down and echolocate each other.
It's time to go offline.
Offline forever.
Are you sure you want to post that?